Hello and welcome to Weekly Geek Speak. I'm Andrew.
I am Scott.
And I'm Steve.
And you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker and Podcast Land if you want to subscribe and join and rate and enjoy us in your ears weekly. You can also follow us on Twitter at Weekly Geek Speak and like us on Facebook. And if you want to drop us an email, weeklygeekspeak@gmail.com is where you need to go. And also the hub of all this is weeklygeekspeak.com. That's all out of the way. It's time to hand over to Scott, who's going to tell us all about his new YouTube series that he's doing with Dan.
I don't know if people remember Bemusement Arcade, but it was our idea to do a show on YouTube for everything you can't quite do with this oral medium of podcasting. We've decided to bring that back, only this time as a video game show. It's basically a Let's Play show with me and friend of Weekly Geek Speak, Dan, at Hippo Crisis, who was on the Special Quest episodes. And we're basically playing games. We've played Pokemon X and Y, Sonic 3, Smash Brothers, Hyrule Warriors. We're doing some more soon. So any games you want us to play, just let us know and check it out on the YouTube and subscribe. We put our podcasts on there also.
Is that Weekly Geek Speak? Is that the channel where it's simply called?
Probably Weekly Geek Speak. We kind of monopolise that handle around the net, so just find us.
Great stuff. Well, we're going to brush through some news first of all, because some stuff's happened between now and then. We're going to talk about the third Age of Ultron trailer, which hit our screens. The first one was absolutely astounding, I thought. The second one was, one. This one, again, kind of knocked me off my feet. I'll hand over to you two boys to talk.
I'll let Steve go first.
I don't have a lot to add other than the first one. The first one came and went. The second one didn't do much new, and then this one sold it because this one was different in tone to the other two. I don't know, something about it just sold it more than the others, and I'm definitely very much more excited. So yeah,
I honestly think the first one for me was one of the most exciting Marvel trailers personally since ever. I think other than Iron Man perhaps, and the excitement of the first Avengers film, this one really seemed to get me excited. It showed you things you never thought you'd see, the Hulkbuster armour, this really cool music with Ultron. This one kind of extends on that a bit more. It shows a bit more of the tone. We get a few more images of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and things. Quicksilver punching Captain America was pretty awesome to see.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Looks like Black Widow gets some good screen time as well.
Yeah, definitely. And just the more you see of James Spader as Ultron, just the more cool. I can't remember the line exactly, but like, I was designed to be a hope for the world. I'll take that from them first. And just the way he says it is just so menacing but straightforward.
It's the cold logic of being designed to create peace. Well, surely the best way to get peace is to
eradicate
everyone else.
And there's just oozing with just the great little, like, we'll see that, I will see that, I will see that, and Hulk fighting Hulkbuster armour up a skyscraper. I mean, that alone, it reminds me of the first Avengers when the Hulk caught Iron Man. And I think just for months I kept going, the Hulk catches Iron Man, I'm there. I don't care what else happened. It was a bit like that. It was like, you just show that and put Avengers Age of Ultron and we'll turn up. But they have all this other stuff. All three trailers are just seeming with all these great moments, but at no point do you feel like you've seen it all, which makes you even more...
You still feel there's a lot in that story that will get us, and it's why I want to see it quick. I want to see it before things get spoiled.
And a lot of the things I'm most looking forward to is a lot of the interactions, nuances, where it leads, and a lot more Ultron, and all these things have been held. And Vision, we've only just seen him now in the last trailer for a Flash. He's going to dominate that third act probably. There's loads we've not seen yet, so it's incredibly exciting. Great trailer. So that was exactly the same. First one of the best trailers I've seen. Just different, cool, epic. Second one just felt like riding that a bit, but this third one, oh, it's a film. It's going to be a film. Obviously, it's going to be a film, but it's going to be a film.
It's going to be an event.
An event.
It is probably the cinematic event of the year, let's be honest, and that's one I'm most excited for. Along
Fast and Furious 7.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always that.
To be honest, Star Wars.
Oh,
but
of course.
I think them
Right.
two stand above the rest easily for me.
The other news is, obviously Harrison Ford had a terrible accident. It turns out he isn't the best intergalactic pilot out there. He crashed his plane into a golf course in Venice, Venice Beach.
Did he get
Silly
it
guy.
on the green?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you think he just saw it and then got confused and thought that he was in a golf ball?
I know it happens to me. I didn't know he could pilot. Because Chewie did a lot of the driving, didn't
there
he?
you go. But apparently
Maybe
he did
that's his wife.
about 10 years ago, I'm sure he had another plane crash at some point. Maybe we should just keep him away from the stick, you know.
Yeah.
He's so cool, though.
It
It was worrying for a minute there, because
Yeah.
I thought we were going to lose
Another
a
one.
true icon.
Yeah,
Definitely.
straight after Spock, if you lose Han Solo, it
Yeah.
would be
Oh,
like, no!
No.
No, you can't do that to the
That-
geek world.
No.
Like, they're literally one of the 4 pillars of the geek world.
Yeah.
What are the other two?
Stan Lee,
Yeah.
and...
Adam West?
Yeah, go on then.
Oh.
Yeah, can you imagine? You can't lose 2 of them.
No.
The whole structure, as we know it,
crumble.
might fall down.
We're Weekly Geek Speak on Sheffield Live 93.2, and we're moving on to our next story, which is the Supergirl image. We finally have a Supergirl image. We've seen her costume. We've had a lot of
Yeah.
reveals. We've had the Atom coming out and this, that, and the other. No, there's lots of rumours talking about tying this in with this already pre-existing DC universe they're creating on television.
Yeah.
What did you think to the costume, Scott?
I thought it looked really cool. It's the same sort of muted colours of Man of Steel, evoking a bit of that. But it's also a slightly Max Fleischer-esque, like the old Superman cartoon series. It looks low rent enough to be plausible, but cool enough to evoke its comic book counterpart. And it's slowly becoming a show. I was like, really? To what I'm starting to more and more see the potential of, because Superman's going to exist in that world, but he's not going to be the focus. And I think there's loads you can do with that. And it's just cool to get a strong female-led superhero TV show.
Yeah.
Agent Carter is really good. Marvel kind of did that with that miniseries, but this is DC replying, and I'm all for that sort of thing, and I'm looking forward to it.
When is it due?
They're doing the pilot now. Basically, we'll find out if it becomes a series for September. I imagine it's about that time.
Tim Burton is very recently just come into the news about Dumbo. Live-action Dumbo is going to happen.
Right.
First question I asked, will it have Johnny Depp in a hat?
Yes, it'll
Yes.
be Dumbo's hat. It'll be the elephant.
Johnny
So
Depp
how
in
on
that.
earth do you do that?
How does that work? Because a lot of that imagery is very trippy and strange.
And I don't know about you, but I ain't never seen an elephant fly.
And the
So-
crows.
Yeah, you've got to. If they don't have racist
Got
crows,
to have the racist crows.
then it's not Dumbo, my
No.
friend.
It's not.
Oh, actually, Johnny Depp will be the mouse. Called it now.
Yeah.
What's the mouse called? I always forget.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. I won't say Jiminy Rat.
I want to say Timothy or something.
Timothy, might be.
I think we've had it as a question.
I'm sure we have
Yeah.
on Coffee Table Movie Quiz many moons ago. Tim Burton, though, we've seen him do Alice in Wonderland badly, and I want to make sure he gives a... I know he's got this style thing going on, but he used to do style and substance all the way back in the 90s. Can he return to this? Maybe he should just go to doing what he's best at and doing his own
Doing his
stories.
own ideas, yeah.
Yeah, he's got very mixed success with taking other people's pre-existing properties. I mean, you can't argue he's Batman, but Planet of the Apes and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to an extent, and Alice in Wonderland.
Bit ropey. Sweeney Todd, I guess, was...
Oh, that was a good
that
one.
work?
I don't know. I always think you can tell if his heart's in it, and I don't sense his heart in it much these days. Do you know what I mean?
I'm interested to see Big Eyes, because that seems to be a return to something completely different. It's the most non-Tim Burton Tim Burton film, for what everyone says, and hopefully that's a good labour of love. But it kind of slipped by without much over positiveness or under, or negativity. It just seems to have happened, and I'd love to see that film.
Yeah, definitely.
Joel Killerman has been cast in Suicide Squad, is this right? Or is rumoured to have been cast in?
It's one of them where I'd say 100% confirmed, and then it'll turn out by the time this drops that it wasn't. But I'm pretty sure he's taken up the Rick Flag role that Tom Hardy and Jake Gyllenhaal were both heavily rumoured to be.
Yeah, I think that's confirmed.
Because he's been talking up David Ayer in the script so much that he's got to be on the payroll. I think that's fine casting. I mean, the ensemble's strong enough. Everyone's going to be going. You've got Will Smith for your star power. Everyone's going to be wanting to see Jared Leto's Joker. And I've never seen so many posts about a man's hair in my life. Oh, he's getting cut. Oh, look, it's cut. Oh, look, it's blonde. Oh, look, it's got grease and paint in it. Yeah.
Oh, look, here's some pictures of the Joker we found from different comics.
It's an actor, yeah. That's going to happen. That was always going to happen.
Wow.
He wasn't going to go in looking like Jesus and play the Joker, was he?
If they've released teasers of him in a series of different wigs, but no, he's had a haircut.
I would be interested to see which kind of approach they take. Everything seems to be hinting towards the Dark Knight Returns kind of quiet, dead behind the eyes, creepy camp character, and I'd think Jared Leto could play that well.
I'd just make it your own, make it different, but make it essentially be the Joker, and then I don't care what they do.
I love the words. I think "beautiful disaster" was said towards his character.
It's become majestic and more comedic, which some people might raise alarm bells, but that doesn't necessarily mean camp or anything.
No,
it just means they might, like Heath Ledger's Joker doesn't tell a single joke.
Like the camp side I want to see is a genuine campness, not oh hello, you know, like pantomime camp.
Yeah,
I'm
not
wanting that.
more.
I want like some kind of dark behind the, you know, kind of dead behind the eyes kind. You know, the character from Dark Knight Returns in the film. Yeah. He plays kind of camp, you know, and it really works for that character. It makes him very creepy.
Well, because Batman they've more or less confirmed every which way you can imagine that it's going to be heavily based on Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns Batman. I'd be shocked if they didn't go a similar way with the Joker. But just make it your own. That Suicide Squad film, I think it's Sleeper's not right, because I think a lot of people suspect it at this point, but that's going to be Batman vs Superman will do well, but I think the Suicide Squad film will be the film people go, DC might have some over it.
Right.
I think that's the one to really look out for.
And I'm very intrigued to see how they work the villains here, in terms of, you've got Lex Luthor, who's obviously the kingpin, the business guy, evilly controlling from the top, but then you've got Joker from the underworld controlling it quietly from the bottom. I hope that's the approach they take, and Suicide Squad seems to suggest that he is sat there pulling the strings, and it should lead up to a really exciting actual, when it does come to a confrontation between Batman and Joker, that he's just been behind the scenes pulling the strings. Same with I hope Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, definitely. Just being able to say this and it happening. I mean, I wouldn't have dreamed of this as early as a couple of years ago, so I'm so spoiled. like all the TV, all the films, all the games, all the comics,
it's all coming.
But what's beautiful about this is when Marvel started the cinematic universe, we were going, see if this works. Now that DC is starting so many years after, we're beginning to see, we can theorise like this. Anything's possible now. Any comic, anything that's happening in the comics could potentially happen. We might even see a Mad Hatter character from the Batman. You know, these really obscure villains could come to light. We're in a world now where it can, and that's just amazing.
We're in a world now. It's not, I just want to see this guy on live action film. Oh, it's such a shame. It's now, if he's not in the film, he'll be in Supergirl, or he'll be in Arrow, or he'll be in Flash, or he'll be in Gotham. I'll get it by hook or by crook somewhere, if not multiple forms of it. So,
I mean, Groot's one of the most successful characters now in the Marvel universe.
He's getting his own spin-off comic. Yeah, he's getting his own spin-off comic series.
Well,
he's probably had that before, I would have thought.
Yeah. I'd love to get that gig as the dialogue guy.
Also, well, we'll get to Ghostbusters later on, I think, because that will be a different thing. But yeah, now it's time for us to move on to our usual section. I thought we'd get that out of the way, Steve. We don't mean to jump on your news.
No,
do you have something else for us?
I was just going to say, based off the universe, I was just trying to make sure I got the Valiant Comics planning to launch a cinematic universe also. Now, I've not heard of Valiant Comics. They're the independent comic book publisher Valiant Entertainment, have secured a deal. The publisher has a library of 2,000 characters, Man of War, Harbinger, based on titles such as Bloodshot, Shadow Man, Archer and Armstrong. So that should be another interesting comic book universe being brought to our attention.
Well, the shared universe is becoming more in vogue because it encourages you to engage with the same universe for multiple things, and I can see why but some things can't support them, and some things it should happen more organically than planning it before your first film. Like Iron Man just provoked the idea, and then they jumped over it. They didn't go that's stage one. They were just doing an Iron Man film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They had an idea, but it wasn't publicised in that sense, was it? It was
and they agreed to have him in Hulk, and sort of it was a plan to an extent, but it wasn't we're definitely going to do the Avengers. It was like, do you know what'd be cool that we've never done?
We can get this to work.
Yeah,
like let's just.
And that's how it should be. Just
test
film
waters,
one film at a time. I'm not against planning a phase or if you've got an overarching plan, but there's too many of this. We need a shared universe.
It's the Hammer horror one as well, isn't it? Rebooting all the characters to try and modernise them. That sounds.
It's just a bit backwards.
Yeah.
Like start with a film, and then
works.
see if you can organically do that, rather than.
It's not the fact it's a shared universe; it's the fact that these characters work.
Yeah,
I think the stories and characters and films are working on their own.
It's organic.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
granted, Guardians of the Galaxy is technically in the shared universe with Avengers, but it's not singing and dancing about this at the moment. We know it's going to happen.
Well, it's like take Ant-Man, right? We're all going to watch it because it's part of the cinematic universe, and Marvel have got a track record, and we'll want to know. And yes, that supports that film and gives it a safety net, so that film will be fine, financially speaking. But if that film's terrible, that film's still terrible, and we'll not watch it much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to film first, and then all that is gravy, and that'll just happen and take care of itself.
So now we move on to our usual section. After we've mused all over your faces, it's time for an open forum where we talk about things that we don't normally talk about. You know, some things, and I don't know, just fancy a chat. Let's have one.
I always fancy a chat.
Yeah.
We never have a chat, do we?
Chat.
Oh, we do it weekly, I
Wait.
guess.
Well, I'm gonna start with a scary story.
Oh.
And it's not a Bumpy Goose story. It's a genuine story from the bus the other day. Now, I was on the bus heading back from work, and the city we live has some rather strange people. Let's put it that way.
Safe to say, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just travelling, minding my own business, and I was looking at my phone at the point, and then 3 people stomped up the back of the bus and sat down. And the first thing I noticed was there was a very loud woman who was shouting about, "Oh, we better tell him to put his tea on." So I was like, "Oh, here we go." You know, I was tune out. You know.
Here we go.
But then things got weird, and it was that so fascinatingly weird that I just couldn't stop listening.
Yeah.
Because one of these, and it's a terrible affliction what he will have had. Like this guy must have had some kind of schizophrenia or something. But he was speaking in so many different characters to himself. It got really scary. Like to the point you were like, it's a genuine person. It's obviously safe enough to run the bus, but there is a little bit of you that gets a little bit freaked out. This guy had a lady who was like, "Hello, how are you getting on?" And everything was said in this kind of tone. And then the lady was like encouraging me, going, "Ah, look at the little baby," and then he'd go. And I was like, "Fuck!" But I couldn't see any of this. This was going on behind me. And then if this wasn't scary enough, the lady started going, as in the lady character within this fella's like, "Oh no, I'm really scared. He's coming along." I'm not even joking here.
Whoa.
It suddenly went. "When will I fucking kill you?" Honestly, everyone within earshot, like hair stood up on the back of their neck. "Oh God, he's back again." "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking." And it's like, "Don't worry, I'll get you home for tea." I'm so scared.
So he kept slipping into this like violent, scary
Weird.
And I was like,
aberration.
I might get like punched in the back of the head in a minute, you know?
Yeah.
So this went on and on throughout the journey, and it was fascinating. And obviously, I can't stress enough that you have to feel sorry for people. Like it must be hard. You can't control this, but he's got all of these conversations going on in his head, and
Or he's a fantastic actor.
yeah, I thought it was almost like is Dom Jolly going to walk on the bus, or is it Dom Jolly behind me doing some kind of stunt? But then he kind of got quiet for a bit, and then I was on my phone, and then I thought, when I get off the bus, I need to see what this fella looks like, you know.
Yeah.
But I got off the bus and it went past me. I never saw him, and then I thought, what if that was all in my head?
Oh,
I think I encountered a similar family to the one from the House of a Thousand Corpses there. Basically, I wanted to ask you, is have you ever had any experiences that you were so terrified in that sense that you think could make a good movie, or so fascinated as well?
That would be an amazing short film, though.
Yeah.
Like, you see them get on the bus and go behind you.
You kind of see the figure, like...
But you never... Yeah, and then you just show reaction and all the craziness, and then they're just all there. You get off the bus.
That would work really well.
Someone do that.
Yeah.
And then...
Can we do it?
Well, you have to credit us. I think this is a document now. We can sue someone.
This is legally binding.
This is an internet document. So we came up with this now. Or Andrew did, specifically.
Yeah.
But I was just imagining the dynamic within the head of the baby and the woman, and then this dark creature that comes along, and the woman, but it's all contained within this one fella. Weird.
It's fascinating.
But having all those different,
genuinely, like the psychology behind it, what is actually going on there, you know,
is incredible, because that's like that's 3 different perspectives, 3 different voices, able to switch in and out. Oh yeah,
interesting.
Incredible.
So what was you?
It's basically like experiences you've had which are scary or something, or interesting, or a little dark, or something that you've been in the situation and you thought this would actually make a really cool movie.
I used to get a feeling in one of my old houses at the top of the stairs that there was something there, and I've never had that before, but it was just this house, and there were quite a few occasions where it was a comforting presence, whatever it was, but there was always out the corner of my eye when I was going up the stairs. There was always something. I was never quite sure whether it was there, whether it wasn't.
You kind of place it, don't you? But you know it's.
And I wonder whether it was just me, but it happened. But it wasn't an overbearing, oh God, this is terrible, it's a horrible thing there. It was just kind of alright, there's something there. It's whatever it's doing, it's not going to harm me, it's fine, it's cool. And that used to, when it happens more than once, you kind of start going, right, okay. And then the third time, and you think, no, it's not me imagining it. It's definitely something. But
it probably is.
Yeah, it probably is, but you almost convince yourself that it's not, and there is something there.
It's almost like that childlike thing when you have those feelings as a child, and then you return to those places and you still feel it, and you know it's nonsense, but you still get scared.
I do it. I used to be like a projectionist at cinema, so there's long dark corridors no one's ever going to go down. And I'm not the type of person who thinks anything, so I'm badgered away. Then every so often you just glance down this long dark corridor and you go, would it be terrifying if there were monsters staring at me? Like, what a weird thought to have. Like you're a mid-20s adult, but you just, and then suddenly you picture it and it's all perfectly formed and he's just staring at you. And I just think, why do I think like that? Why, is it a manifestation of something? But no, I don't really have too many creepy moments in my life. I go out my way to not have them, funnily enough.
An overactive imagination. All the hairs have gone up talking about it. All the hairs on my arms have gone up. But yeah, no, I have an overactive imagination.
I'm scared about people like killing me and stuff, but anything vaguely supernatural, I just laugh at the thought of it, to be honest.
It's the supernatural that worries me.
Oh, I'd be if I saw a ghost who wanted to kill me, I'd be like, this fucking ghost, kill me then. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, the existence as I'm aware of it.
Death by ghost.
There's higher forms of it. That's fine. Like, what's life? Nothing.
You
kill me.
Though, I honestly think if you did see, and I'd like to stress I don't believe in ghosts, the subject fascinates me, I think I've said before, but I think you will get so terrified if you believe in that kind of stuff about the ghost that you begin to hear things and see things.
Yeah.
If a ghost actually manifested in front of you, down the corridor, waved at you and walked off, you'd just go, oh. You know, I think it would completely ruin the fear, anxiety. And
can we make a pact? If there was such thing a ghost, or one of us became one. I know this is stupid. Can we just agree to do the most nonchalant haunting of
right,
and then walk?
Because that would be fascinating. I can just imagine a frog like most haunted, and then it just alright, and then disappears, and it's like, oh, we've proved it. That's it.
I'd walk down a dark corridor, like really nonchalantly walk past them and go, "I'll do," and then glide off through a wall.
Doff your cap.
There's probably some sort of rules. That's why it don't happen.
Yeah,
that's what idiots are saying. I'm joking. You can believe what you want within reason.
So yeah, I mean, that was my kind of weird experience on the bus thing, which I tried to link a question to.
It is creepy.
But yeah, now let's go to Steve. He looks like a man with a pen.
I am a man with a pen. There was an advert the other day, and I think we were speaking about it. When we watched Pulp Fiction. Harvey Keitel's in a Direct Line advert, playing the character from Pulp Fiction in an insurance advert.
It heavily implies it's the same character.
Yeah,
I don't think it is.
implies, but it's too much of a.
Hey, stop looking ahead in the bumpy guy. It's a right little monkey, isn't it? Give him anything to fiddle with. I mean, just
Steve's
unzip your fly. You can have a great time next to
Read
Scott.
and poke things at him and not let him have his say. So messing. Scott,
You didn't even finish your thought.
I was just conscious of you being unaware that you were looking and then ruin one of the best stories in Bumpy Goose Land.
I wasn't. I literally just do things without thinking.
I know, I'm fidgety
I'm
too.
just such a fiddler on the roof.
So adverts, Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel. It's kind of like, it's almost like a sellout. And then Arnie appeared in a Compare the Meerkat advert.
Compare the Meerkat!
And he's apparently the new face of Compare the Meerkat.
Isn't that Sergey the Meerkat?
No, apparently it's going to be Arnie. Stallone's in a Warburton's advert.
Is he?
Yeah. Mr. Bean's.
That used to be like an old man with his like
it's
young
Sylvester
grandson.
Stallone
Now it's Stallone.
Yes.
With a gun.
Yeah.
Right, head on the bad.
Running up
I
some
know.
steps with some bread.
Mr. Bean's in the new Snickers advert I saw today. That added to
quite
my
funny, though.
Yeah,
Rowan
it is. It's
Atkinson,
really
or actually
Rowan
Mr.
Atkinson. He's playing Mr. Bean, and it's sort of, you're not yourself, and he eats the Snickers and becomes the proper
Just
comfort
Liza-
man.
Who was the Liza Minnelli?
Yeah, Liza Minnelli.
Oh, stop being a diva or whatever.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon's doing the EE adverts. Snoop Dogg in Money Supermarket, and then Bryan Cranston is playing the character. There's no night. It's playing in an Esurance advert, and he's in character behind this prescriptions counter, going, "Say my name. What's my name? Say my name." And these direct quotes from Breaking Bad, and it's a bit like,
I don't mind celebrities being in adverts.
Yeah.
That's fine. I
always
don't
happened.
like taking a property that pre-exists and
Right.
using it. I agree with that.
This
I don't
was-
like it.
Yeah, this was going to be my thing. So, what constitutes selling out and characters and using characters, and what would you guys like to see advertised by who? Because it's seemingly anybody can do anything nowadays.
An actor gets chucked loads of money to endorse a product because they're famous and they do it for a payday. Don't care. But like Andrew's touched on, if they try and undermine the art they've created and try to like trade off that, that is literally the definition of selling out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've got a creepy story now.
Are we in Donnie Darko? Is that about to come through the ceiling?
What did I say?
Don't think they should sell out in terms of the property.
Yeah, it's the
pre-exists.
definition of selling out. So I agree on that score.
Yeah.
But it's always kind of happened, doesn't it? It's sort of
Yeah.
new phenomenon. It's when they bring celebrities back from the dead. That's also a question mark thing for me.
The Audrey Hepburn eating chocolate one.
Yeah, you've not
Yeah.
given that person a conscious decision whether to be involved in your product.
Yeah.
You've just taken out a license of someone removed from that.
Yeah, and you've asked their estate, and they've gone, yeah, alright, if it makes us money. It's like,
This is Weekly Geek Speak coming from you from a war zone. There's a tank going.
And here's Scott with the traffic report.
I'm Tom, and I'm standing here with Scott. And a midget in a bikini.
He has a very hollow chest.
But yeah, imagine what do you hate? Name a random product you hate, Steve.
A random product that I hate. Oh, I don't know.
Andrew.
I can't think. Oh, I don't know. I don't watch that much telly, which is why I'm
Okay,
often bringing this
let's
one up. I can't
pretend
think of
you
an
hate fruit
obscure
pastels.
project.
You've always
Oh,
hated
fruit pastels. Yeah.
You've always hated
Oh,
fruit pastels.
terrible,
All
terrible.
other fruity-based
Yeah.
sweets, confectionery, or just
Orange juice. There you go.
You hate orange juice.
Yeah.
That's
There we
nice. You've hated it. You've always hated
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And you die, and you're really famous. And then in 4 decades' time, you're selling orange juice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what? It just feels
Pouring it all over your
Yeah.
body, going, and it's all CGI.
And
Oh,
people
no.
might say who gives a crap because it doesn't affect what you think. Like, I don't think of when someone said Marilyn Monroe, I don't even remember the advert, but I don't think of what adverts was she referenced in. You go back to the iconicness of her roles
Yeah,
and
but
what she
it's-
was, but it's still wrong.
It is.
It just feels wrong. Doesn't it?
It does. Who would you want? What product would you want though?
What
Advert in person. Last one.
What do you mean?
What?
Well,
what
if you could have anyone advertise anything.
I don't like adverts. I avoid them.
Okay.
I would have. I'd have Morgan Freeman doing a Weekly Geek Speak advert.
Yay!
Oh, that would be
That would be
amazing.
incredible.
We couldn't get him, so we got Eddie Murphy instead. That's what that would be like.
Scott.
I don't. I don't really care about adverts, and I believe persons should. They don't. They just take money. But if I was going to advertise something, I'd have to sanction that product. It'd have to be a product I used and liked, and on some level agreed with. Yeah. Even if it's just I happen to agree that's the best razor that I use. Yeah. That's good enough. But if I don't use that razor or care, then why would you advertise it? Money, yeah, obviously.
Have you honestly, in memory, I know it's not something you'd keep in your memory banks, but actually sat down and watched a TV advert and gone, I want that?
Fast food ones sometimes get me.
Are you like me? Are you really stuck in your ways with what you order from places?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you go and you could be, if I was a more adventurous person like you, I will try the pineapple and egg pizza, you know? Yep. There isn't such thing, but you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, I'm always like pepperoni. Yep. The meatiest pizza.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
It feels, even though, I probably have takeaways too much, it feels like it's a rare treat, so you have to go.
And if you order the wrong thing, you think, well, I could have had that and that would have been really nice. Now it's ruined. Yeah. It puts you off.
If I'm looking at a menu at all and thinking about it, it means I've not been there. Or been there recently.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know, I think I'm a creature of habit.
We all are.
I'll tell you what I really hate, and this says a lot about me as well, is when you order something. I don't mind if it's a pre-agreed thing, but if you order a load of stuff and then somebody bright spot goes, let's all share everybody else's food, and that seems to be...
That never happens with me.
It seems to be kind of a thing, like, for some reason it's allowed when you get Chinese or Indian food. Let's all have a little bit of each other's, and no, go away, get out my house, give me my pizza back.
I always think, when you're in a group with your meal, you have to decide before you've even ordered, are you paying for your individual meal or are you splitting it? And because what usually happens is you find yourself halfway through and the person who ate 8 pizzas all with meat feasts all over it goes, I said we split it, and then you've had half a margarita with some salad and you're going, oh, you do you?
On the flip side of that, I don't like being in there and everyone consensuously decides that they were going to split the bill, but I want to have a few beers. And
so
I don't want to be begrudged for having 2 beers and a steak. I'm not doing it because I'm getting a cheap deal. I'm doing it because I'm coming to a restaurant. I want to order what I want.
And I'll find I'll agree to pay a bit more for the sake of the meal and not having to do maths.
I agree as well, yeah.
But I like to be asked up front rather than... Because I don't know, it's that bit of, do you really think that, or do you happen to think that because you've just worked out it's cheaper? There's that like weird...
If it's like... A great example, we went to a pizza place the other day.
We're
all having a very similar thing. Everyone is going to have a drink and a pizza.
That worked out perfectly though, because we all went, we'll split this, buy one get one free, we'll all have a drink, off you go. That were easy.
It's pre like consensus, isn't it? And anyway, we were going to Scott with your open forum. Somehow we got into food.
I was watching Cinefix on YouTube. We're doing a debate series called Alien Wars. So I had a bracket of like quarterfinals, as you imagine. All various aliens and 2 people in debate what was the best. And they had their final really recently, which was Goku, who's a Saiyan from the Dragon Ball Z universe, against Xenomorphs. Of what's the best alien that made it to the final, and they got into this really funny, intense debate about it. So I thought, what are your favourite aliens in cinema, and what would your sort of argument for them if they were real be, rather than alien because it's a cool villain in a film? What's your argument for it to exist?
I'll kick off by saying I know it's one of my favourite sci-fi films, but I really like the idea of... I love thinking of evolution on different planets and how different things could become different things. In Starship Troopers, I completely buy a bug planet.
Oh yeah.
You know, they have become the dominant species. There's a degree of intelligence, but they're basically still animals and things. And I think that the bugs from Starship Troopers are completely fascinating. You've got brain bugs, they've got troops. It's like a real ant nest, and you could go, there wouldn't be a big blobby gelatinous insect with loads of little ones, but it's true. They grow from things. There's lots of different forms of the species, and you look at ants, you look at bees. There's different types within their own species to work toward the nest for their own thing, and I think I love Starship Troopers for that, because I think it's a B movie which has a lot more behind it than you'd expect.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go, if I was going to go anywhere, I'd go the aliens from Mars Attacks. Yeah.
Well, why would you want them to exist there?
Because again, I think they could exist purely because you've got them in the movie. they get the people and they're splicing the people, and they're obviously clearly good at experiments and taking animals from other planets. But that's how they evolved. They evolved through experimentation and becoming a brain in a helmet and going around and only being able to communicate.
But how did they
with
survive
that
on Mars?
Well, they explain it by they've lived beneath the surface.
So we're not aware of them.
No, they've been there all along, and then they've come out and.
Why do you think? Do they know about us then?
Yeah,
I think
they've been watching us for a while. They've always known we exist.
And they just let it happen.
Yeah, they just
Get to a point where we're arguably a threat.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then think, right, okay, enough's enough.
That makes them more benevolent than they appear in the film, then. To let us exist this long, because you could have just
they could take
stopped
us out
it,
at
couldn't
any
you?
point. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So there must have been debate happening.
Yeah.
To the point they were like, if we don't do them, they'll do us.
And different political parties within that, if we vote them in, they're just going to destroy everyone we've been watching for all this time. No, let's just keep it going and let's keep... but let's just keep watching them and see where this takes us and which planet becomes the best. Oh, that one's overtaking that one's overtaking that one.
And we all agreed we don't want Xenomorphs to exist, because anyone who does is frightening.
The one that I really like, and I'm going to go in two-prong here because there's an obvious one and a different one, but I'll start with the Faculty. Not sure it is an alien, but the parasite in that.
Yeah.
But also thinking of parasites, the Thing, the creature in the Thing.
Yeah.
I think that also is a fascinating way of I mean, the creature in the Thing could easily be a tiny little thing that just knows how to grow flesh. It could be a bacteria. It could be, and I find that really interesting. That the littlest thing to survive will do whatever it can. So that's basically what the Thing's doing. It's trying to survive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There are ants. There is a species of ant that uses your brain, that can actually tap into your brain and taps into other animals and other bugs' brains and controls them, almost mind controls them. I read National Geographic, and it's terrifying because it's like, if you imagine ants, if you imagine them evolving and getting bigger, and then taking over
they wouldn't need
humans
to get bigger. They just need to
quite a lot of them taking over
That means
human.
Ant-Man is literally the best superhero.
Well, yeah,
Because he could control that ant,
yeah,
take control of like the Hulk,
yeah,
and he's off to the races.
yeah. So stuff like that exists in nature.
I want to see that, Marvel.
What is the meanest creature on Earth? Because I've heard about this fish in the Amazon, which is when you're having a wee. And I thought this was an urban legend, but it is actually true.
It's true.
It can swim up wee and go up your urethra and feast on your penis.
And then it lodges its way in with it like barbs,
prongs,
doesn't it?
barbs, so you
get
can't
out.
pull it out.
I thought that was a myth.
Where's
as well.
that?
Amazon.
Okay.
Let's go.
Not going there.
No, probably that.
Botfly are pretty mean.
Honey
aren't they?
badgers are just well hard, aren't they? They're like the Russell Crowe of the animal kingdom. They always want to fight.
Yeah.
They always want to fight.
Fight.
You all know there's squids though.
Oh yeah.
Oh. There was a video of an octopus on the internet. Did you see the octopus coming out of the sea and eating that crab?
No.
That was horrible. Again, another one of these videos of something in nature that no one's ever seen before. It's like, shit, if that can happen. Oh, God.
we're living in a world now where a weasel can ride on a woodpecker. So.
I know, right?
What?
You've not seen
You've
this?
not seen the picture.
What?
I'll quickly find it.
Oh,
So while Steve's
you're-
finding this to show, we are now going to Steve and Mark for Comic Conference. We're on Sheffield Live 93.2, and make sure you do follow us on Twitter at Weekly Geek Speak and subscribe on iTunes. Coming up in the rest of the show, we will be talking about Master of the Universe, with a film we screened only but a few weeks ago at the Green Room.
There we are. There's a weasel, baby weasel on the back of a woodpecker. It's that time where we go over to Mark Roberts, our comics expert for Comic Conference, at The Sword Is Drawn on Twitter. Mark, how you doing?
Pretty good, hello.
So what are you going to talk about today then, Mark?
I think certainly over the last while we've been chatting, I'm kind of known as a Marvel guy. I know. I run a Marvel fan site. There's a little bit of a bias there, I know. But I thought I'd actually start talking today about a few DC runs that I actually like over time.
Okay.
From the other side of the divide.
Cool.
Now, I'm not going to say this is any kind of definitive list of things that you should read, things that will change your life, but these are certainly runs that I've enjoyed over the last few years.
Sweet.
We've talked in the past about Daredevil at Marvel and the Marvel Knights imprint, how we had that kind of initial wave kicked off by Kevin Smith that got people interested in that series, and then the series kind of flowed on with that, with Brian Michael Bendis writing what was probably the longest and most consistently good run for that character. Well, over at DC, they attempted a very similar thing. They also got Kevin Smith in to launch a series.
Right.
Then leading on as a catalyst for another one of my favourite runs of the kind of the early 2000s, really. Another street-level hero. So stick with me on this.
Okay.
Smith launching and leaving Daredevil gave us that brief period of fill-ins, and then you get Bendis. Smith leaving Green Arrow in 2003 gives us a short period with Brad Meltzer writing the book before we go on to Judd Winnick's Green Arrow. A run which kind of lasts for about 4 years as Green Arrow before moving on to become Green Arrow and Black Canary as a separate title. Judd Winnick is a guy I generally kind of will go out of my way to read. Weirdly, I think many US readers probably actually know him better as being a contestant on the American reality TV show The Real World in the early 1990s.
Oh, wow.
But please don't hold that against him. He is actually quite a decent writer. He was responsible for the dimension-hopping book, the Sliders X title Exiles for Marvel, a book which I love to bits, to be perfectly honest. Largely because it was one of those books that you were never entirely sure as to whether a character could just genuinely be snuffed out at the end of an issue. It had that kind of risk-taking element, which you don't get so often in American comics. So when he left Marvel, I was kind of looking and watching out to see, well, basically where he went to next. And he did go over to DC, and I was waiting to find what that book was that he was going to click with. He did a run on Batman, which was perfectly okay. But it's Green Arrow that he really kind of got into the mindset with, I think, really. That book, you don't really get very long runs in comics these days with one writer, that, especially those that manage to stay consistently good. He came on in issue 26, and that went through right up to issue 75, at which point the book goes on to something else. But during that time, you get a really kind of solid street-level book. Okay, so Oliver Queen does actually become mayor of Starlight City in that run, but it is still fairly grounded. You have the two levels of him fighting the kind of the legal side in the day and then the rooftops at night as Green Arrow, which is cool. It also had a bit of controversy around the midpoint of the series as well, when he introduced the character of Mia Durden, who took on the role of Speedy, Green Arrow's sidekick, for want of a better term. Right. Yeah, it's a role. When she went on to join Teen Titans and carried on as a character there. But Mia was a runaway kid who had a really quite messed up life up to that point. And it was revealed kind of midway through that run that that the character Mia Durden, through things that had happened in her past, was actually HIV positive. Right. Now, this is a big deal because that was the story that made the US news. At that point, kind of the highest profile character you consider to be HIV positive and being shown in a positive light in comics as well, which is a genuine bonus. But I suppose highlights really for the entire series was any kind of relation to Green Arrow and Dinah Laurel Lance, Black Canary. Right. The series effectively culminates when you get to issue 75 with kind of dalliances backwards and forwards of a proposal, and then you get the wedding issue, which leads into the other series. Just what kind of reading Winnick writing those two characters, and to be honest, the whole cast as well, if I'm perfectly honest, is just a joy to read. Right. I'll make it clear that if you have been watching Arrow as a TV series, this isn't quite the same kind of level of character. I mean, this is an older Green Arrow. Very, very much so. He's still a bit of a playboy, but he does call himself Green Arrow, and he does wear a little Robin Hood-style hat. Okay. Don't let that put you off, because it is actually a very genuinely enjoyable run, and one I could definitely recommend. Cool. In terms of finding trades for that one at this stage, certainly in a post-New 52 world, it's probably unlikely you're going to find one first-hand. The first volume was called Straight Shooter, which was released back in kind of 2003 time, so it's quite a while back now. But I have found it. It is on Comixology if you have access to that. The run starts. It's the 2001 to 2007 series of Green Arrow, which starts with Judd Winnick on issue number 26. Brilliant. Moving on, I'm going to go to a Batman run. There are so many kind of classic Batman stories across the ages, and I'm not saying by any means that this is a definitive one. I'm going to go this a little bit kind of unconventionally. It is a Grant Morrison run, but not perhaps the run that most people kind of think of with him on the main Batman book. Okay. Morrison did a very significant run on Batman in the 2000s, starting with issue 655 and going right through to Batman R.I.P. at the end of that and Final Crisis. That sours it a little bit for me. I mean, I enjoyed the run a lot, but at that point, I find the difficulty in trying to buy into the whole kind of Batman dies twice, lost in time shenanigans. That kind of took the sheen off what was otherwise a very enjoyable run. Okay. But after Batman R.I.P., you got a kind of a relaunch for the entire Batman line in the form of Batman Reborn. The fallout for that in many ways is actually genuinely very interesting. So yes, the first I'm going to go for here is Batman and Robin, which was the series that was done by Morrison and Frank Quietly. Because of Batman R.I.P., of course, we have no Bruce Wayne. He is gone.
Right.
I mean, Dick Grayson, as previously Nightwing, previously Robin, steps into the Batsuit. Not for the first time, it has to be said. It was done previously, but of course it is very significant to having had the former Robin kind of living up to that, and also very significant as to who he has as Robin. And that's Damian Wayne, the evil little bastard son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, who was introduced in the previous Morrison run on Batman. But yes, this is a series, I think, where he kind of really came into his own as a character. I mean, part of why Dick has taken over being Batman is because Damian is just plain dangerous left to his own devices.
Right.
If he's even shown... yeah. He's even shown certain kind of inclinations to wanting to be Batman himself if nobody else stepped into the role. And that is just plain dangerous, giving this guy this little kid who's been raised by the League of Shadows unmetered access to all that kit. No, this is not going to end well. Yes, that's the basic premise of the series. Again, brilliant run. I mean, Morrison and Quietly together always do seem to deliver very good work, one way or the other. Sometimes it's a little bit slower, but yeah, there's always a definite quality to it. Mm-hmm. But what's brilliant about this work is this particular run is it doesn't work.
Okay.
If Batman and Robin had gone wrong, where neither really gets on with the other, both don't really like each other in any way, shape or form. One would probably quite like to kill the other, but they're both determined to kind of live up and rival each other for Bruce Wayne's memory.
Right.
I've read that series for a good long while longer. Sadly, that's not the way the comics work. So there's only 3 volumes of that one. The 3, and you will probably find them in print because Morrison books tend to stay in print. Yeah. 3 volumes. First one was Batman Reborn, Batman versus Robin, and Batman and Robin Must Die.
Right. Any relation to the movie?
That movie really could die. Moving on in a kind of connected fashion, still working with Batman Reborn, another book that span out of that kind of period that kind of almost went undetected, some might say, was Brian Q. Miller's Batgirl series, which launched around about the same time. Now, this is a book that I picked up completely on a whim. Didn't know the writer, didn't know the character, but I decided to give it a go all the same. And damn, actually, it was a pretty good run. After the title of Batgirl was kind of vacated by the last incumbent, Cassandra Cain, who gave her costume over to Stephanie Brown, who most people probably better know as Spoiler, certainly in modern comics, Spoiler. She was also the first in-continuity female Robin, if you don't count the Dark Knight Returns and the like. Anyway, basically, Stephanie just decides one evening to start dressing up as Batgirl and hitting Gotham and fighting crime. Yes. She's completely kind of separate to the rest of the Bat family, for a better term at that point. With Bruce dead, there's not really anybody else there kind of looking into it to stop her from doing it initially. That is until Barbara Gordon steps in. Now, Barbara was, of course, the first kind of proper and perceived to be original Batgirl before the events of the Killing Joke confined her to a wheelchair.
Right.
Now, okay, New 52 has kind of erased all that, and yes, she's back again. But back then, this was a big deal. Barbara was writing as Oracle. It was often part of the Birds of Prey series, wielding a kind of a network of cameras and computers, expert hacker, viewing all the things from afar across Gotham and getting other people to kind of fight crime on her own instruction. So, yeah, only a matter of time before she spots somebody else dressed up as Batgirl wandering around the rooftops.
Okay.
What you get through this series is effectively, it's the original Batgirl taking on and training the new one. And that in itself is interesting to read, but it also has that kind of, and I almost hate to use the comparison, but I always feel for books like this, you kind of get that Peter Parker Spider-Man vibe. The teen heroes got their own problems, trying to balance their life and the secret identity and so on. And I mean, in this book, Stephanie's at university in the series and trying to hide the secret identity from fellow students and from her mum as well.
Okay.
But I think it's always very difficult to get that genre of books because it's practically its own right.
Yeah.
This series, I think, does it. The Miles Morales Spider-Man series that they did at Marvel, that got it. Robert Kirkman's Invincible series over at Image, that does. I'd argue that Marvel's Nova series, they rebooted a couple of years ago with the Sam Alexander, the guy from the cartoon projects, that didn't. it's very, very difficult to kind of hit all the right notes for that without seeming too tired or too trying. But yeah, I think this book absolutely hits it right. And I mean, Stephanie Brown is still around as a character. She is around the new 52 Back-ass spoiler, but I can't help feeling that this kind of incarnation of her as Batgirl ended too soon. I don't think I'm alone there. Certainly when DC launched the New 52, the one thing they were getting as a question at every single panel they were doing at every convention was, well, when are we seeing Stephanie Brown again? When's she going to show up? So it might have only run for 24 issues. Okay. 2 years worth of comics. But it was well worth having a look at. You might have a difficulty in finding the paperbacks for it now, especially since the New 52. But again, I've had a look over in Comixology as a reference. If you're interested, it's the 2009 to 2011 series of Batgirl written by Brian Q. Miller.
Brian Q. Miller.
24 issues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And the fourth one.
Finally, I'm actually going, well, this is more of a complete article. Going back to a series that never goes out of print, and rightly so. Probably one of the most significant works that DC put out over the 1990s, and that comes courtesy of the brilliant Mark Waid and the equally brilliant Alex Ross in the form of their future take on the DC universe that became Kingdom Come. I don't know whether you encountered this one at all, Steve?
No, not heard of this one.
Well, Kingdom Come is set in a kind of a near future of certainly what, in 1996, when it was written, was the future of the DC universe. A full generation beyond the characters that we were seeing as the kind of the present set of DC heroes at that time. Most of the original Justice League have long since effectively retired. Superman in particular, who's basically gone off to tend a farm off in Smallville. There's an army of robot Batmen patrolling Gotham City, but nobody's seen Bruce Wayne in years. He's effectively become a recluse. And you've got a whole generation of the offspring of most of the heroes and villains that you'd know from mainstream comics there, now running the show about 20 years on.
Oh, wow.
Two very mixed ends. A lot of these guys have no qualms in killing or creating masses of, Man of Steel size collateral damage. And things have started to get increasingly more and more out of control. The story itself is narrated by a clergyman, a minister from Metropolis by the name of Norman McKay, who one day encounters a dying man coming into his church. He's reeling off all these visions of what he's seeing of a coming apocalypse that's going to happen. And it turns out this man is Wesley Dodds, who is better known as the character who went by the code name of the Sandman in the Golden Age Justice Society of America comics and the like. And he's reeling off these visions, but then Norman himself starts seeing reflections of it happening in the world himself around him, beginning with where the kind of the big hero of the day, Magog, who was introduced for this series, but did turn up in other books later on, is involved in an incident which basically irradiates the entire of the American Midwest, totally. Full nuclear strike kind of level of irradiation, which is the point the Spectre turns up and basically asks Norman to pass judgment on the entire of the superhuman race.
Okay.
No risk there, no pressure.
No, just
all on your shoulders.
Yep.
As a starting point, let me say, this series is absolutely seriously effing beautiful. The entire series was painted in oils using real people as a reference model.
Wow.
Every page, every panel, every frame, it's all in there. You can tell this is a proper kind of labour of love.
Yeah.
Alex Ross just knocks it out the park on this. He's done other work for other companies, and he did Marvels for series similar kind of vein, but this is the big one. Looking back at the trade that I've got here, even for kind of 30 seconds, it just kind of drives me nuts. When you look at Alex Ross doing art here, these days he only does cover art. That's it. Never the interiors, and it's just bloody criminal.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the biggest wastes of genuine talent in my book. This guy is just utterly brilliant. And to see him, I can understand it probably makes him more money to just do single page work. But seriously, the interiors here, absolutely brilliant. I think the strength, though, is that this is a kind of the real kind of epic, gigantic feel that this series has. You get to see the kids of all these characters you've followed for years or grown up, all heroes in their own right.
Yeah.
It's a characters you've followed from actual comics actually aging, which is something they're never going to do in the books themselves.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Just see mainstream comics. I mean, you see a retirement age Superman and a Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Crazy old Bruce Wayne in the hydraulic batsuit, who are, the progeny of the guys and that's really good. It's also really very concise. I've kind of forgotten that he's actually only a 4-issue series.
Okay.
It feels like more than that, but again, it's because of that kind of epic feel and epic scale.
Yeah.
Its own way, So yeah, it's one that's well worth recommending. It's almost always in print in some fashion, be that kind of like a 10 to 12 quid paperback, right up to the £8 quid hardback absolute volume. I can't justify that one. But yeah, genuine. That if I could recommend one, I suppose from the entire last 20 years, Kingdom Come would probably be it as a standalone thing in its own.
That sounds fantastic. And like you say, in a day where we get reboots and prequels and things, that sounds like a really nice 4-issue summing up of them getting old and what happens when they move on.
It was done under the Elseworlds banner, so it kind of stands alone as its thing. But yeah, anybody who has been dipping into the DC universe in one form or another will get something from that book, definitely.
Cool. Oh, well, thank you kindly. So we've got, just to recap, correct me if I'm getting wrong, we've got Green Arrow Straight Shooter, Batman and Robin Reborn, Batgirl, the Brian Q. Miller one, and Alex Ross Kingdom Come.
Yes. Alex Ross and Mark Waid. Fantastic, thank you kindly. And as we spoke last time, I said I picked up Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky's Sex Criminals, as recommended by yourself. I've read the first volume, and as you know, I think the second volume is out now. Yes, it is. I need to get my
and I pre-ordered that, so hopefully that should be on its way.
Excellent.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Great story, unlike anything I've read before. The artwork's beautiful, and I think it's just been picked up for a TV series, which I'd be intrigued to see how they do it, because especially the opening bit, without giving anything away, if you've read it, you'll know what I mean, but it's going to be an interesting one.
Definitely. Go on, people.
Yeah, definitely. Get out there. Is there anything else you've been watching, reading, playing?
I finally got round, and in an associated point, I have got round to watching the first season of Arrow, which has kind of been sitting on a stack of Blu-rays for the last while. As a huge kind of Green Arrow fan from that kind of period and from others as well. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It stands on its own right as a kind of a re-envisioning, but it definitely kind of has all the hallmarks of what I'd be looking for in that. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, no spoilers. Season 1. I've got a while to go yet.
Fantastic. All right, thank you kindly, Mark. And where can we find out more about you and your work?
You can find me, you can do a web search for It Came From Darkmoor, which is probably easier than trying to recount a Blogspot address to you. And you can find me on Twitter as @TheSwordIsDrawn.
Cool. Brilliant. Thank you kindly, Mark, and we'll speak to you again next month.
So last week we screened at the Green Room in Sheffield, Masters of the Universe. Well, first of all, I think we'd like to say thank you so much for everyone for coming. It was a great success.
Sorry for my sniffling.
Scott's very cold. Cold? He's got a cold.
Yep.
He's like a little snot creature.
He is.
I am snot.
So yeah, Masters of the Universe is a film we're going to give a few quick words on. But first of all, Steve, I believe you have some stuffs from the listeners.
Yeah, I was just like Andrew said, thanks a lot. At Green Room Chef, you can check them out and check out our latest screenings and stuff. Thanks to at Steve Kahn for the Fear short film, and at Fear_film, you can check that out. And we got some reviews from the evening, and people. Duncan Brown at Bunkandrown.
That's great. Yeah.
I have no.
That's his 3-word review.
3-word review. I have no. Yeah.
He ran out of words.
And
yeah.
It's quite,
I liked it. Steph Anderson at Stephalemon. Still hilariously awesome.
Yeah.
Omar Solomon at Wiz52. Can't be coincidence, surely. You show Master of the Universe on Tuesday, and we get an update, and there was some really awesome Battle Cat concept art from the new movie.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It's not a coincidence. We're movers and shakers. We make stuff happen.
And Mark Nuttall over on Facebook, his He-Man memories, he says, they all wore bondage gear, the redhead made my trousers all tingly, the plastic swords by Mattel were useless for slicing domestic cats in half.
Well, we have to say that it is Flash Gordon's sibling, isn't it? It's definitely
by design. Yeah,
I'd forgotten. I haven't seen it for years, and it's far more cheesy than I remember. It's far more tacky than I remember, and then therefore far more incredible than I remember.
You pointed it out the night, but it's unavoidable because I think everyone pointed it out. But it desperately wants to be Star Wars.
Yeah,
which obviously Star Wars is inspired by the Flash Gordon serials of like the 30s, but there's all like black stormtroopers, the Skeletor's always ultra-like, And He-Man spends half the film with a laser blaster, which he shouldn't even have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little ginger Yoda running around with them.
There's so much weird technology unnecessarily in there.
It was part labyrinth as well, wasn't it?
Very,
yeah.
It was like a hodgepodge of all the fantasy films that had done well. Like, what's done well? Superman was a success. Star Wars did well. People like Labyrinth.
Throw it all together.
It'll work. It'll work.
And it's those effects that, again, we were saying that there's an era of film that you can never recreate, and so for some reason in the late 80s, early 90s seem to encapsulate this fantastic, cheesy, bad effects that would just make them so unique and incredible and memorable. They're almost valiantly proud of what they are. There's no holds barred. This is a He-Man film. This is a film with Skeletor in it. It's just insanely fun, and these films should be celebrated more, I think. They're thrown away as trash cinema. I mean, some people in there were like, this is awful! Yeah, but it's trash cinema, and that's why it's so brilliant.
I mean, how can you not get into it when Skeletor sort of introduces all these, like, bounty hunters that you know from the toys and the show, like, Beastman and Evil Lyn and that Lady Gaga one.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out that looked like Tina Turner, then I laughed for the rest of the film because he kept turning up. It was just awesome. I just give me a trashy 80s film that I watched as a kid, and I'll just unapologetically love it. It's just awesome. Why wouldn't you get into that? Go on, criticise it, dare you?
No, I don't think
you can't.
can.
There ain't one.
Exactly.
There ain't one to be had.
There isn't.
Because it's trash cinema. It's proud, loud, proud, brash, trash.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue it wasn't going for that. It's a happy accident. And so in that respect, there's loads to criticise for. But I just have a weird affection for it. There's a really weird... I knew I was going to enjoy that screening.
And it was the cheer when he uttered the infamous line.
Yes.
Oh,
I have the power!
Everyone just...
Brilliant. And it's the post-credits bit as well that I'd forgotten existed.
People always credit Marvel Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Starred there.
Where Skeletor pops out the water and goes, please, can I have another film? Skeletor was my favourite.
I tried my best, He-Man!
The plot of the second one sounded horrendous, though.
What was it going to be?
It was something... It basically, it was going to be set on Earth. It was going to be a high school jock in disguise, and it was all going to be a bit weird. And...
A called Adam.
Yeah.
Like Prince Adam.
Yeah.
Because they don't really touch on all the Prince Adam
But then I said on the night, one of the facts was that the script was so bad, Dolph Lundgren didn't want to do it, but it got rewritten and tweaked and actually became Cyborg, starring Dolph Lundgren.
Shame. It should have been Masters of the Universe.
I know, right?
They've been all over it.
Hopefully it'll get more of a cult status. Now we've got the new one coming. Hopefully people will see this for what it is, as we've appreciated it, and we'll get a resurgence of it, and it will come back because it's.
If enough people saw it as a kid, they will always give it a chance as an adult. Hence why there's a Power Rangers film coming, Transformers is done well, and why He-Man's coming back. But where's my Thundercats film?
I was about to. I was waiting for you to get Thundercats needs that.
Where is it, please? Because that revamped cartoon from the other year was amazing.
Incredible. The revamped cartoon is how I pictured the old series in my head, but having gone back to the old series and gone, this is terrible. Like but the new one is like, this is my head projecting onto the screen what I imagined that as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect. Yeah.
Oh, live action Mumra.
Be all over that.
Done.
Definitely.
That would be incredible. I mean, there's some like Conan the Barbarian, which obviously has been made into a film and things, but the one I really want is Pirates of Darkwater. I think I sing that. In fact, let's do this. What? And I'm not just going to ask you to list a load of TV things. What would you have? What TV kids TV show from your childhood would you like to see in a live action film in a similar style to Master of the Universe, and how would you have it done?
Okay.
And I'm going to start with Mighty Max.
Oh.
Have a good old, let's set it in the world, the late 80s again, so you've got your Goonies kind of era of thing going on. It's when we like children in films, and they could be 15s, so you could get into plants. And then one day this kid called Max is a bit of a badass, he's on his skateboard coming home, he gets into trouble at school, all of a sudden he comes across this fowl. This little fowl that's on
Are
the
you sure it's not a chicken?
I'm not a chicken! And he
it's just for the Mighty Max fans out there.
Who are you? And this fella's like, oh, we need your help. And then you meet this big buff Scottish ginger fella who's your backup, which I'm sure could actually do it for himself. You know, he could probably.
Yeah, he was pretty badass, was he?
But you could like flash from American suburbs to Gull Island and Dragon and you know all the way through the film you're working your way through these kind of zones. That's amazing. I'm going to hand over to you.
That would be good.
Oh, you're killing me with this.
Well, so we've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and I've watched a film where I suspended disbelief and there was a tree and a raccoon. So based off of that, I'm going to go Super Ted. Because, okay, that sounds slightly far-fetched, but if we've seen that kind of technology now, Super Ted would be incredible. And again, you could make it that slight 15, you could have it a bit more. You could have Texas Pete. And
I think you're missing the appeal of
No,
Super
but
Ted.
and bring back the whole element of that secret word. And
did you see the episode when the villain found out the secret word?
Yeah.
That was just blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's like the episode of Bernard's Watch where Dirty Den appeared and stole his watch.
Yeah.
Started doing crimes. And Bernard was like, no!
Yeah.
Every sort of time fantasy I have always involves Bernard's Watch.
Yeah. Or the Queen's nose.
Yeah.
But Bernard's Watch always had that where the narrator was over-narrating.
Yeah.
Bernard's mum was very cross with Bernard, so she asked him to not mess around with his shoes and go to bed. Stop messing around with your shoes and go to bed. Oh, God, come on, woman, get on with it.
The main show I've always kind of wanted back in some sort of form that would be amazing live action is Reboot. Because I loved that show. But the problem is, because it was an early 90s computer animated show from Canada and it dealt mostly in games the way they used to be, if you modernised that the way you'd have to, it'd probably just be Tron.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a way you could, because it's that idea of a world inside your computer.
Yeah.
He's the Guardian. He's always trying to stop you when you're playing a game or people die. And different games come in. It was fascinating. We were the bad guy. Reboot. Not the big bad guy.
You could bring it up to date with all the games we've got now, all the first-person shooters and all the games that weren't really established.
You could do something really cool.
Weren't really established back in
Wreck-It Ralph, like.
Yeah.
And I just love Glitch.
Yeah.
He had a thing on his wrist that'd do anything. Like Glitch cutter, to just cut something.
Yeah. It was essentially the sonic screwdriver, but more.
Anything as a kid where someone had a gadget that could do anything, I was there. It always caught my imagination.
Definitely.
Like that, I want that perfect weapon, please.
Steve, do you have any facts to throw at us for Master of the Universe?
There were a few of the bonus questions, throwaway questions that I was going to ask on the evening. What do the Eternians say after He-Man kills Skeletor?
Good job, He-Man. I don't know.
No, they all say victory.
Oh yeah.
What does He-Man yell when he gets his sword back? Slightly too obvious.
I can't remember.
Oh.
A sword!
I have my sword back!
Thank you!
Skeletor poisons Julie. What leg does the poison enter
It was
her
the
in?
left leg.
It was a right leg. Only one of 4 mercenaries dispatched to Earth by the evil Skeletor had been a Masters of the Universe character prior to the movie. The others were all made new to the film. Which one was it?
Beastman.
Beastman was the seminal Master of the Universe character and was carried over into the film.
Good stuff.
But as I said, it was originally the license was bought for the film based on He-Man the Barbarian, and it was just that, pure and simple. And then the cartoon happened, and then everyone went, "Oh, it's not the cartoon because there's no Battle Cat and he's not Prince Adam and not this and that." But it happened before, and it was because of the success of the cartoon that the film got made. So I think that's kind of cool, but also kind of a shame. But the new one, definitely looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for listening. Thank you very much to Mark at The Sword Is Drawn on Twitter. Another great comic conference there. Just to let you know, our next screening is on the 7th of April, and we are showing
Super Mario Brothers.
So come down to the Green Room, 7th of April, 7:30 for an 8 o'clock start. I'm sure we'll have some snacks for you there as well.
Oh, yes.
So come join the fun. That's 7th of April. We'd like to say thank you for listening on Sheffield Live. That's Sheffield Live 93.2. Actually, one thing I was going to say in the news, but I don't really want to cover it, but I feel we should. It's the Russo brothers are going to do a Ghostbusters with just men, and I think this defies the point
Yeah.
It's the problem is not the fact it's got women in it. It's the fact that it's gimmicky.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's not about Ghostbusters.
I don't think it's a direct response.
Feels like it though.
It does feel like it, but I feel this is more. They want to do a bit. They probably had two different ideas in their head, and they got excited, going, "We could do both and have a shared universe."
Yeah.
And I don't know.
The idea of
Is this
Channing-
actually happening then?
Yeah. The idea of Channing Tatum as a Ghostbuster. He's gonna. I think he's gonna co-produce it, and he's gonna be one of them.
I think it's purely they're trying to turn the Ghostbusters franchise into something it's not. It was two films,
Yeah.
perfectly done back then. They're trying to turn it into a big, look what we've got at Sony universe, aren't they?
From the rumours I read, this one, if it happens, is going to reference the originals, and then the female-led one is going to be sort of part of this universe, and they're hopefully going to try and merge it all in. And I think they've bought the license or the rights to Ghostbusters Inc. or Ghostbusters something. There's a tag that they've bought, and I think, like Scott said, he alluded to that there's going to be this new resurgent.
It might
Ghostbusters
work.
universe.
It's just the way every time this whole thing is sold, it's just like, oh, can we just not bother?
I know.
Yeah,
I just want the old Ghostbusters.
I mean, you know, the
Yeah.
people with proton packs fighting ghosts was always cool, inherently cool. But it was more than just that.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've forgot that. Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be evolved. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels like it's because everyone's gone off about female-led and this, that, and the other. It's not about it. Really isn't. It's about just making sure you do good Ghostbusters films first and foremost.
Yeah, where the machinations don't feel geared towards making the best Ghostbusters film. It appears to be, how can we get the most publicity, eyes, and money from Ghostbusters at the minute? That's what it feels like. But
And as we've talked about in Master of the Universe, the effects were what they were back in then, and they've aged so well because they were the way they were. So to try and modernise that as well,
I'm sure
that's
they can
gonna
make
it'll
that
be an
work
interesting-
in a way.
Yeah, but it's still going to be
It'll be different.
different. Yeah.
It needs to be different to a degree. It just needs to have Ghostbusters at heart.
you wait
Yeah.
25 years for a Ghostbusters film with two
To come along at once, yeah. Steve, what time is it?
It's time for This Week The Geeks Have Spoken. Thank you as always for all your reviews, interactions and tweets. Keep them coming in. We genuinely appreciate all of them. We'll start as always with hashtag 3-word reviews and Pete Bushbauer, the king of 3-word reviews at Popular Outcast, on his ever-ending quest for 365 films before the year is through. He's seen quite a few this time round. He's seen 19. I'll pick my favourites. The Taking of Deborah Logan, Freaky Faux documentary, 7 out of 10. I happened to watch this. I wouldn't go so far as giving it a 7. It was watchable.
Okay. fair
Yeah,
enough.
it was okay. Have you guys?
He's been at the Lost
heard of it?
Weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
He's been at Lost Weekend Festival. Ouija, playing ghost games, 5 out of 10.
Can I ask him, are you
Yeah.
planning on many more film festivals, Mr. Bushbauer? Because if you are, we have to
Well,
rethink our projected.
he did message saying we've grossly underestimated the festivals and things he goes to.
Right.
But I've said, well, I'm still crossing my fingers on that because I said August. So
I feel like
the estimated prediction was based on what he'd done so far. So
I know. I feel like we've been cheating.
I'm going to recalculate.
I feel like he's hustling us.
Yeah.
Recalculate each month. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm keeping tabs.
Okay.
Chappie, Robots with Feels, 8 out of 10.
I'm really looking forward to seeing
I'm
this.
glad to hear that. I really want to watch
Yeah.
it because it evokes upon all the sort of films I love.
Yeah, desperate to see it. Amira and Sam, fantastic romantic comedy, 9 out of 10.
Good.
Yeah, not heard of that. Again, It Follows, classically styled horror, 8 out of 10. Really
I have heard a lot of good things.
can't wait
about
to
that.
see that.
really happy by that. Kamiko the Treasure Hunter, which I spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Quirky Cohen homage, 7.5 out of 10. I do totally go with that. He's watched 89 films so far.
He's getting there.
So good work, Pete. Hollow Spy at Hollow Spy, Snowpiercer, Skip the Buffet, 8 out of 10.
Is that referencing something?
Well, it's set on a train. Skip the buffet car. I think it's just a.
Can you get buffets?
They go
on
straight
train?
in for
So
the.
they call it the buffet car. It's not really a
Do
buffet.
they?
It's an
Yeah.
overpriced sandwich. Kit Kat.
Yeah.
I never
Crushed.
I go straight to my seat and sit there in silence.
Oh yeah, no, it's the
So
it's the worst bit. Luke Pietnik at Luke Pietnik, Under the Skin, dark, edgy, beautiful. No score.
Visually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Background noise, the man of many names, at Sparky Wright. Good vibrations. Think darker commitments.
I'm picking
8
up
out of 10.
good vibrations.
Commitments is a classic.
I've heard Mark Commode, I think, recommend that highly. I think, was it on BBC this week?
Not sure.
Don't know.
I have to have a check.
I'll watch it eventually.
Bex at Arbitrary Genius and a
she's
friend
been
at Copperbird.
baking.
Yeah, did a whole bunch of Marvel-related baking as tests for the upcoming films on TV. They did Captain America Shield cookies with the star that she'd ordered them a couple of weeks ago. The Vision buns looked awesome. Daredevil's Devil's Food Cake looked with the DD
Oh, that
on
was
it. Looked
incredible
amazing. Deadpool chimichangas for tea.
Never had chimichangas.
No, I've not.
No.
Let's do this.
They did look good. We need it. Hail Pydra, which was just brilliant. And the Hulk Crispies.
I like
So-
them. I want to try them.
They were
Yeah.
all really amazing. She's really talented and it's great. Where the DC...
Oh god, here we go.
where the
Here we-
DC sweets...
Here we go.
DC
Well-
may be ruling TV, but they're not ruling the baking stand.
They will.
They will.
Don't make me have a bake-off with
That-
you.
Wait, Bex, can we...
The Great Geeky Bake Off.
Yeah.
The great...
Should we have a bake off? Let's say here, me, you, we'll all bring our food in together. And
Right.
we'll get someone to judge it.
Let's do it.
Oh God, no.
Let's do it.
I've seen Steve's cooking. It's going to be incredible.
We'll need a new
Thank
judge.
It'll be
after
terrifying.
John.
Your cake was amazing.
Thanks.
Oh, look at you
Oh.
all. I like his buns.
Seth Peterson at Seth_Parker 2016. Thanks for the link to the Spider-Man Moves to the Country video. It was really funny. You can check it out on YouTube and ShroudStudios.com. Little 37-second animation.
I found it and I just thought it's too charming to not put on YouTube.
Really good.
Twitter even.
Reckless Hero at Reckless Hero HQ. Their novel The Last Sheriff is now available in at Derby Store in Sheffield.
Get it.
Yep, and also on their website. Check
We're
it
hopefully
out.
going to pick up a copy and read it not read it for you, but read it to tell you how good it is.
Oh, I thought we were going to get
Bumpy good
like
stuff.
an audio book then.
Ah. The Supergirl costume we mentioned earlier at Wilbro Jr. 36. That's Dave. Very in line with the comics. I like it.
Yes, definitely.
Pip Mason at Housebroken Geek. Yep, that's Supergirl. I approve.
That's kind of my attitude with this. It's always like
It's good.
it looks right
Yeah.
for film, but it looks like them. What do you want? Like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm with this one at Robbie_Polanco. Super fan Robbie Polanco. I was expecting bright colours, but not bad.
I don't
They
think
seem
we
to
need
have gone
bright
for a lot
colour.
more of the brooding dark superhero with
it's
all
the
this
way.
new. Yeah.
She's got to be a country girl with superpowers flying about. Like, there'll be enough colour.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. And lastly, Dave at Wilbro Jr. 36. Halfway through listening, and all I can say is that no one could ever replace Richard O'Brien on the Crystal Maze.
Andy Peters could.
Yeah.
You want to fight about it?
Yeah,
No, I'm joking.
it's happening.
No,
No.
he's right.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening through. Keep throwing our 3-word reviews to us, share your views on our news stories, and again, huge thank you to Mark at The Sword Is Drawn.
The sword is drawn.
Remember, we will be screening Super Mario Brothers on the 7th of April at the Green Room in Sheffield. Please join us. Big thank you for listening on Sheffield Live 93.2. Join us again on Friday. And our full longer podcast, if you want to hear it, is available. We will be switching to Mondays soon. We will confirm the date that we'll be doing that soon. But this should be out on Friday, all going well. But we will be changing the date soon. Please do follow us on Twitter. If you have enjoyed us, please review us on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, or somewhere. It'd be nice. Not on a toilet wall. Although if I found a review of us on a toilet wall, I'd be like, woohoo!
I find that
Yeah.
amazing. Reviewers on a toilet.
Review us on a toilet wall.
No,
Take the picture.
preferably iTunes. Failing that,
We're not
Stitcher.
a toilet
failing
wall.
that, YouTube.
Yeah.
Failing that, a
Toilet
toilet
wall.
wall. Please.
No, just ignore all the rest. Toilet wall. We've got reviews on the others. We're toilet wall.
We're not encouraging graffitiing. Make sure you get the consent of the proprietor. You don't have
Yeah.
to just scribble. Okay, good. We covered ourselves a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Right, we're going now. Thank you very much. We
Thank
love you
you.
all, and we'll be back next week.
Toodles.